Hello friends, vinyl community, music lovers, welcome to the start of a new series here on the channel. I'm going to call this one Digging in the Deadwax Box. If you remember all the way back to Christmas time last year, 2013, Mark in Canada, DrDeadwax, sent me a giant box of records. And for the past year, that box has just been sitting in my closet. Some other purchases I've made in the last year. Haven't really done anything with them yet because I've had this idea for this series of videos I wanted to do and been procrastinating about it, and I'm finally ready to start doing this and digging into that box. I did an unboxing of the box, so if you're curious about what's in the box, I will put a link to the video where I unboxed it and showed all the records that were in there in the show notes below. But for this series of videos, what I'm going to be doing, it's going to be somewhat similar to the Survivor series in that I'm going to talk about each record after I've listened to them, give you a bit of info on each one, and let you know whether I liked them and whether they're going to be staying or not. If you want it to be a surprise, don't watch that video, or if you're curious about what's in the box and what might be coming up, go back and watch that video if you haven't seen it already. In honor of DrDeadwax, I'm going to do it sort of in his vinyl challenge style. I'm not going to do 3 to 5 records a day. I'm going to do 3 records, and I'm not going to do 1 a day. I might do on this 2 or 3 a month. I'm going to have 3 ready to go, and I'm going to clean them up, spin them, and make a video and let you. I did just that just now and spun the first 3 records out of the box. I'm just going to be pulling them random. So the first album we have here is a UK synth pop band named New Music. This is their debut album, From A to B, from 1980. A UK very early synth pop band, still has somewhat of a, a lot of people hate that term post-punk, but it's sort of fits here. It's got a little bit more of an upbeat, fun sort of energy to it that's a little bit more rock and roll, a little bit more punk. This is not punk music at all. This is not loud screaming, but it's just a little bit less synth pop, if you could say that. A little bit more like maybe like a Devo. I wouldn't say this sounds directly like Devo, but it has some of that sort of similar vibe to it to me. But yet there are some straight ahead, very synthy songs on here. I really like the song A Map of You is really good. I believe the hit on here was called Living by Numbers. That was their first hit. Probably their biggest hit overall. So this was a fun listen. I really enjoyed it. Enjoyed listening to it. This is on the Epic label here. This is a Canadian pressing, since DrDeadwax lives in Canada, most of these are Canadian pressings. Unfortunately, this one, you're probably not going to be able to see it on camera, but there's just bubbles all in this vinyl. It's bad. They are audible at times. You can just hear it. All of a sudden you'll start hearing a tick for a few seconds. All the way through this record, there's random ticks here and there. There's no scratches on it that I see, but it's just the bubbles in the vinyl. Unfortunately, the press was too hot or too cold or whatever. But I'm going to be keeping this one for now just because I do like it. I want to keep it. I want to find hopefully a better copy someday. So that's New Music from A to B, a little bit of synth pop stuff going into the collection. Alright, the second thing I have to talk about for today is an album from Al Hirt. This is just a self-titled album. Al Hirt does sort of a swing band, sort of trumpet kind of stuff my grandparents would listen to. And yeah, this was just okay. I sort of went through my Al Hirt phase when I was in high school. I first started collecting records and going to thrift stores. I bought a lot of Al Hirt records and listened to them and enjoyed them. It's very simple, okay kind of music. It's got a nice sort of swingy beat to it, but just not that interesting to me these days. So unfortunately, this one's not going to be staying. This is a US pressing on Metro Records, which I don't think I've ever seen one on Metro Records. That was interesting. It's the Metro Records label, kind of cool black and silver label. Al Hirt, self-titled, not staying in the collection, but it was fun to sort of revisit. Haven't played an Al Hirt record in probably 20 years, so that was kind of cool. So that was that one. Alright, and last but definitely not least, we have the debut solo album from Gary Newman. This is The Pleasure Principle from 1979. Once again, synth pop, but very different. Around the same time as the new music, definitely coming from a different place, coming from a Kraftwerk kind of influence, possibly a synergy kind of influence, a Larry Fast synergy, very stringy, synthy kind of big, open kind of synth pop music, if you even want to say that. It sort of moves more towards almost a cinematic feel, very epic sounding, synthy, stringy kind of stuff. The hit song on here, of course, is Cars. You know, big hit, the one song that probably everybody knows from Gary Numan. But that doesn't really tell the whole story of this album. It's a little bit different from that. It's more, as I said, more stringy, cinematic. I keep going back to that. Yeah, coming from sort of a Kraftwerk and synergy kind of vibe, I'm getting a lot of those kind of 70s synthesizer, before synth pop, just very straight ahead synthesizer rock kind of music. So very enjoyable. I really loved hearing this album. One thing I hadn't heard this album before other than Cars. One thing I did noticed is that the track on here titled M.E. Basement Jaxx basically ripped off completely and sampled the track M.E. on here for their song Where's Your Head At, if you remember that from I believe it was from the 90s is when that came out. Yeah, just a heavy sample there. That was kind of cool. I didn't know that came from this album. And just in case you didn't know, this was Lisa Olson's album. She put her name there and there, and I'll show you on the vinyl here in a minute. Cool insert here. It is torn, unfortunately. There's the lyrics on there. Lisa, you didn't put your name on the jacket here. Somebody could take this. And there is the vinyl on Beggars Banquet. Gary Numan, I believe, was initially signed to Beggars Banquet for the Two Boy Army band he was in. Did 2 albums with Two Boy Army, and then released this solo album. There's Lisa's name again. I don't see much going on in the Deadwax here. This is catalog number BEGA 10. I'm guessing maybe this is the 10th release on Beggars Banquet. So that's pretty cool. So that's the first 3 albums from Diggin' in the DrDeadwax box. Hope you enjoyed it. I pulled the next 3 already. Gonna get them cleaned up. The next time I have a few hours to sit and spin records and make a video, I'll do that. So thank you for watching. Thanks again, Mark, for sending me this awesome box of records. I'm sorry it took me so long to get to these. I haven't forgot about it and definitely enjoying them now. So thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing, and we'll see you again real soon. Cheers.